Welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's tutorial we'll learn how to make bow sleeve. This is the type of sleeve we'll be learning how to make today. This is my pattern, my sleeve pattern. You can use a short sleeve, you can make it 3/4 or even long sleeve. So what I will do first is to mark the center of my sleeve pattern. So I'm marking the center, that is the center for my sleeve pattern. After that, I will measure what the total half of it is 6.5. So I will mark 4 inches. At that point, 4 inches. The total of that sleeve of the curve of the sleeve is 13. So when I divide it into 2, I have 6.5 by one side, 6.5 by the other side. So on each side, I'll be marking 4 inches to the center, and at the upper part I will measure ½ inch on both sides, ½ inch on both sides. So I'll connect the two lines together. After connecting the lines, the next thing is to cut. I'll start from the cap of the sleeve and I'll cut until I get to the end, but I'll make sure I did not cut all through. It will still remain a little. This cutting is just for me to be able to manipulate the sleeve. So I'm going to cut the other side too, just like this. And the next thing I'll do is to bring out another paper, another pattern paper, and I'll place this sleeve on it. Now I need to mark a line, a straight symmetric line on this paper. I need this line so that when I place my sleeve pattern on it, I'll be sure it is straight. I'll be sure I'm placing it straight. So after drawing this line, I'll bring my sleeve pattern, I'll put it on it, and I will make sure my center line on the sleeve matches the line I just drew on the new pattern paper. So I'll make sure it matches it. This allows me to know that okay, I am placing the pattern in a straight line. If I don't draw this line, I might make a mistake in my placement. So I will make sure the two lines align like this, and I will stick, or I will glue down the pattern. This black line showing in this video determines how big your bow is. If you want a very big bow, then you spread it. You make sure this black line is wide, is big enough. If you want a small bow, then you don't open it that much. For this particular tutorial, I think I use 6 inches, which is quite small. If you want it bigger, then you increase it. At the end of the video, you see the sleeve I did that with a bigger bow. Okay, after attaching the pattern, the next thing is to mark 6 inches upward. You can make it more than 6 inches, but at this point I use 6 inches. After drawing the 6 inches upward, I will draw a straight line joining all my edges. At the center, remember I marked ½ inch on both sides, so I'll go upward here at this point too by 6 inches, and I will draw a straight line also. The same thing I'll do to the other side, 6 inches upward. If we can increase it, it's not compulsory 6 inches, but I think I'm fine with 6 inches. So you go straight up and draw more like will I call it a rectangular line or what? I'll draw it. So after drawing the line, the next thing is to cut out my pattern. So after cutting my pattern, the next thing is to place it on the material, on the fabric, and I'll cut it out. While cutting, don't forget to add your seam allowance, especially at the extended part, that is at that pink extended part. Then look at this at the center too. I will add my sewing allowance. At that point I'm cutting, my seam allowance is there. So after cutting, the next thing is to take it to my sewing machine and sew. As a personal preference, you can add interfacing to this point that the arrow is pointing. That is if you want your bow to be strong. Okay, the next thing is to sew, and the first thing I'll sew is I will cut a little what facing now, a little fabric as my facing to turn the edge. You know, that is the round sleeve area. That's the cuff area, which is the round sleeve. So I'll be using an interfacing to turn it. If you want a lining, I've never used a lining for it, but maybe a lining can work. But I'll be using an interfacing to turn that part, that is the cuff area of the sleeve. So I'll just use an interfacing to turn it just to, and if you like, you can just fold it the way you just do a double folding for the hem of a cloth. So if you like, you can do a double folding. If you like, you can use a facing the way I'm doing, or maybe a lining can work. I'm not sure of that. I've not used lining. So I'm just trying to knit the, so after sewing the, after joining the facing, the next thing is I'm trying to double fold it just to knit the edge of my facing. That's what I just did. Okay, so that is the curve or the round sleeve of my sleeve. So the next thing now is to go to the bow part, the extended part. So I'll fold it into two like this, right side facing right side, and I will sew the center and the side. I'll be sewing this side and the center. Okay, trying to show you the pattern again so that you understand what I'm trying to do. So I'll fold it like that, and I will sew that side and the other side. So back to the fabric, I'll fold it right side to the right side facing right side. Then I will sew the side, the center. I'm sewing the center first. I need to notch this part, and the center side I need to be sure that there is a little hole that can lead to the inside. I need to make sure there's a little hole at that point. And since I didn't put the hole while I was sewing, so I need to lose a little of my stitch at that point. You see the reason why I have to put the hole later as we go. So I'm just trying to lose a little at that point. So the next thing now is to stitch like this, my seam facing each other, and I will stitch the top. I'll stitch the top. So after sewing the top, the next thing is to turn inside out and to take it to my ironing table. I'll iron it. After ironing, I'll come back and show you the next step. Stay with me. The next step is to use my needle and thread to gather the bow. So just to watch as I gather it. And as I'm gathering, I make sure I set the bow. I'll make sure the two open side, that is the side at the front of my bow and at my back, are set together. You see, I'm trying to set it. I'm trying to set it, and I will gather to make a bow. After gathering, I will tie a knot. So the next thing is to pick a piece of fabric like this, fold it, and use it to wrap my bow. If you are used to bow making, you understand. So now this piece of fabric will pass through, you know, the I loosed at the center of that of the sleeve. So I'll make sure the material passes through that hole. That was the reason why I had to lose that part initially, if you remember. So I'll make sure it passes through the hole like that, and I'll bring it to the back, and I'll try to wrap it around my bow, and I'll take everything to the back of my sleeve, and still hold it down with my needle and thread. Still, I'll hold it at the back with my needle and thread it. I'm just trying to cover to make sure the hole is secure, because I'll pick the hole at the back. So I'm trying to push the hole towards the back so that I can sew everything together. So I'm trying to make sure everything is nice and neat, and I will still use my needle and thread to hold everything together. So, and if I like, I will cut off the excess. If I like, I will sew the excess to my armhole, to the armhole of the blouse or the gown I want to attach this bow sleeve to. So I'm just trying to hold everything together, and trying to hold everything together. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do like and drop your comments, so that anytime I upload another video, you'll be notified. This is my bow, and my sleeve. The next thing is to just join. Okay, I'm trying to show you a bigger one that I did. This is a bigger bow. I have explained how to make the bow bigger, and this is the curve. That part has been sewn around. That's the facing. So and this is the part I will join to the armhole of the dress. You see the bow will stand, and this is the one we are working on, the smaller bow. You see the bow is smaller. I already explained how to make your bow big, so just join the sleeve and your bow is ready.